Hello friends, welcome back to another backtesting video. In this video, I'm going to be backtesting a concept that I was requested to do by a subscriber and also a member of our A1 trading community. We're going to be backtesting this sort of trend following concept that I've been talking about with the A1 Trend Scanner, which is a software tool that we recently just put out that looks for this exact signal. I'll talk about that more as we get along in the video, so stay tuned on that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to outline the strategy with you, and then I'm going to basically just track everything in this notepad just as we go along to track the performance of this theoretical backtest as we go along. If you've never backtested before, so what you generally do when you're starting out to backtest is we need to actually talk about our rules first. Now, I'm going to be backtesting a very simple concept. First, just as sort of an example for this video, there would be more added variables to any sort of strategy if you're going to fully backtest it, but this should get your feet wet in terms of trying out the concept of backtesting. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be looking for is 3 MAs aligned. And the 3 MAs that I'm going to be using in this are the 100, the 50, and the 200. So what I'm looking for is all 3 of these, like you can see here, for them to be lining up either to the downside or to the upside. That is going to be the first filter on my entry and exit rules. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for an overbought or oversold reading on the RSI 7 period. Okay, very, very simple rules here. So I'm looking for overbought or oversold on the RSI 7. Okay, now in my real trading, whenever I trade, I take into account things like fundamental analysis, which is, I know, something we're going to have to avoid doing in this because I don't know what was happening exactly during August of, I believe this is 2014. I just randomly selected a time on the chart. So I think this is 2014, but yes, either way, it doesn't matter so much. I've basically gone back in a random portion of the chart, and I'm also using the replay function on TradingView. So let's get into it. So these are our rules, and I think the best way for me to show you or test out these rules is basically just to start looking for them. So what you'll notice is right now there is no entry signal, but what we can do here is start to go by bar and basically look for a situation in which things change. Okay, so here is actually where we would get our first signal. Our first reading over 70 would have been our signal. So we would open on the very next bar. So we currently would be short, and the stop loss here that I'm going to be using is very, very much going to be dependent upon market structure. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use market structure to my best advantage. I'm basically going to say, okay, we've got a pretty key level here. I'd like to see price not go much higher than that. So maybe a stop loss of 40 pips here. And what I'm going to be doing is I forgot to mention this in the rules. I'm going to be going for a 2-to-1 on these trades. Okay, so let's see how this one would have played out. We can go ahead and skip forward just a bit and see if this trade would have been a winner or a loser. And it's looking okay. It's looking decent here. Okay, and it looks like we just hit take profit. Yes, we hit take profit. Barely, but we did. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to record that in our thing. So we're going to be risking 1% per trade, by the way. So this would actually be a plus 2% gain on our first trade using this strategy. Okay, so now what we can do here is we can just leave that up and we can just keep progressing along. Anytime I take a trading strategy and I sort of go into the wood shop with it, if you will, just practicing on it, I like to take as many trades as I possibly can to sort of identify the thoroughness of a strategy. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for that signal again. Let's see if we get it. So we're not quite overbought just yet. Does not look like we are going to get that signal anytime soon. Okay, next thing here. Are we, the 2 checks we got to do, remember, are we lined up? Nope, so we can't take this trade. Even though we are overbought or just shy of it, we were overbought just a second ago, I believe. Even though we are poking into that overbought territory, that is not a signal we can take because the moving averages weren't all lined up according to our strategy. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to basically skip ahead a little bit here until we see those moving averages lined up again. So we're waiting for that 50 to cross back under if we're going to be bearish, or to go bullish, we would need to see all of these moving back up. So right now there's no signal. Okay, we're getting close. We need that last, I believe that is the 100 moving average to come up, and we never got it. You can see prices off to the downside. Okay, and now we officially are back into sell trend territory. You can see all 3 moving averages lining up, and now it is a matter of just waiting for this thing to look for. By the way, what I'm doing here manually by looking for this signal, if you guys heard me talk about the A1 trend scanner, that is a tool that we have available. I'm going to just show it to you really quick here so you can see. So this is the A1 trend scanner. It is literally scanning for exactly what I'm looking for in an automated fashion, and it can send you alerts. So if you're not already using this tool and you would like to get access to it, so again, for example, we can go take a look at AUD USD right now, and you can actually see that it is exactly printing the trade alert that I'm looking for manually here in the backtest. You can see we've got the RSI poking up onto the overbought status, and you've got all three moving averages lined up. And of course, it is giving us a bearish signal on the indicator. So if you would like to go take this thing for a ride yourself and get access to this for MT4, feel free to do that. I will provide a link down below in the description if you'd like to go grab that tool for your own MetaTrader 4 if you'd like to sort of play around with this concept. Okay, without further ado, let's get back into the back testing. So we are now trending to the downside, but we're waiting to see if we can get some form of a signal to the upside. I'm going to say that I wouldn't have taken that trade because I can't quite see it poking above. I'd have to go get super detailed, and honestly, that would have been a beautiful trade. So in hindsight, this is another thing with backtesting. You have to be very honest with yourself as to whether or not you would have taken a trade, right? Because again, rules, okay, and that is one for sure. So we are poking up above the overbought status, and what we can do now is actually repeat our process. So I would be in on this bar. I'm going to use structure to the best of my ability here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this area as my stop gauge, basically. I'm going to be risking, in this case, let's risk 100 pips. So 100 pips to do 2 to 1. That would be a move back through the lows down to the next low there. So let's see if this one would have played out. Oh, looking good so far. Let's see if we can get a continuation. Looks like we are just close to stopping out. Nope, we're going to come back down. And let's see how this would have played out. Look at this trade. What a wild wait this one would have been if you were sitting in this trade. Because remember, these are 4-hour bars, so this is a couple days of just waiting here, which is of course not fun, but part of the process sometimes. And it does look like we're probably going to get stopped out. Okay, yes. So we are stopped out there on that trade. So what we can do is we can now pull up our notepad here and just go -1%. And the reason I'm doing this, by the way, guys, is because this is something that I think is really, really important for new traders especially. Get out there and backtest your concepts. It's very, very important to do, to know that what you're doing is actually going to give you some form of profitability over time. So we'll keep going here. We can now just skip ahead as we do not have all the moving averages lined up. We are waiting for another signal. So we'll just give this some time to play out. And again, this is just the reality of trading. Sometimes you just get a trade like that where it just goes sideways forever and then stops you out. And those are possibly some of the most annoying trades. But again, that's why we do the back testing. Okay, so we've got the moving averages lined up. We're waiting to see if we can get a signal here. There it is. We would be taking this short here for sure. I also like this one because it looks like we may be lining up on the resistance point here, or just shy of it. So I actually like that. So to the downside. So what we'll do here is we will take the theoretical trade. So I will go ahead and put a stop. I'll take the trade here. We're gonna put the stop right up here. So risking 131 pips, which I know is sort of a good bit. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can tighten that up. I'm actually going to put it right just above there. So I'm actually going to risk 95 pips. And we're going to go for, again, our target of 2 to 1. And the reason I'm doing this is I don't know how this strategy is performing exactly in terms of just using a 2 to 1. There might be a better risk to reward function. Maybe it's better to trail stops, etc. But that's why we do backtesting. That's the whole point of this video, is just to show you the sort of the nitty gritty, just, ugly side of backtesting. It's just a lot of time and, spent on the charts watching trading strategies and testing them. Okay, so we're looking good for starters. We moved to the downside. See, and again, that might have been, should we have moved the stop to break even? That's the only thing you can do through your testing, is answer those questions. So we'll see how this one wants to play out. Looks like we were very close to getting stopped out. Okay, and stopped out. So now we go ahead and update our notepad. You can see -1%. So now we are flat after the 2 trades that we've taken. So we can go ahead and now look for another signal. Okay, so we are still trending to the downside. And looks like we are getting a sell signal here. So it looks like we're going to try this level again. So on this close, we'd be looking at this. I'm going to put my stop loss just there, risking 68 pips and looking for a 2-to-1 on this trade. So let's see how this one would have worked out. Okay, and pretty good. Nice little winner there. So that was a 2-to-1 winner, got 136, 137 pips on that trade. And so now what we can do is we can go down here and say plus 2%. Okay, so now we are up 2% again. So let's see if we can catch anything else on this strategy. So, and again, the whole goal here is to show you that this is what backtesting looks like. You're just in the trenches, basically digging around and trying things out to see how everything plays out. Let me get that to go. There we go. Perfect. Let's go. So now we just skip ahead again, waiting for another signal. Look at those moving averages. Beautiful moving averages. Love the look of this. I would love to look for a short chance, and let's see if we can get a short opportunity. Waiting for an overbought reading as our first entry signal. And again, we're not getting anything here. So sometimes just looking for that, waiting patiently for that setup. Okay, so that would have been the trade right there. Let's go ahead and take this. So we would have taken that trade. There's the signal. First time we were above the RSI overbought reading. And so I'm going to use this level here as my stop loss, just above this structure here. So what we're going to do is we're going to risk 50 pips on the trade. We are just in the trade now. So we're going for 2-to-1. So 2-to-1 is right there, looking for this trend to roll over and to continue. So let's see how this trade would have played out. Did we stop out? Yep, there we did. Okay. So we just add that to our minus 1%. And we just continue the process. So now we are actually looking for another signal here. Let's see if we can get another signal. That's a little frustrating to watch, isn't it? You get stopped out right before. And again, that's where you could go back and you could test again. You could say, well, what if I move stops to break even? Or what if I did this or that? Okay, I think I messed up. Where would I have taken the trade? Well, I can't really say that I would have taken this trade because I know what's happened already. Because I could, just say, oh, I took the trade here and put my stop loss up here. But my goal here is just to be as honest with this as possible. So let me look at this a little bit closer. Is there resistance? Is there some level that I'd be interested in? Maybe there. I do actually like this zone for a possible sell entry. So what we could do here is we could go ahead and enter into a sell position now. So take that trade there. Put stops about here. I like that. 95 pips. That's risking a bit here. Basically looking for that moving average to hold. And then we can go 2-to-1, which puts us just back at the lows. So let's see if this one would have played out. Starting out well. Let's see. And just give this some time here. Oh, that's a good candle there. Let's see if we can get that to knock the, oh, and bam, beautiful. So now that is plus 2%. And let's tally up where we're at right now. So right now we are up 2%, up 2%, so 6% in gains, 3% in loss. Right now we are in total plus 3%. So we're in a good spot. And yeah, so this is the process, right? This is the whole concept behind backtesting is you're basically just going bar by bar, checking your strategy, testing things out, and letting it run. Now, a couple things that I want to warn you guys about when backtesting. When you're backtesting, it's very easy. You saw me mess up right here, right? I let up, I slipped my focus. I let a few bars go, and it could have been very easy for me to say, oh, I would have taken the trade and just put a stop loss up here. Or, you can you have to really be strict on yourself about your rules and about what you're testing. So what I would encourage you to do is, number one, set rules and make sure you follow them. And number two is be honest. Okay, so make sure you set your rules, be honest with yourself. It doesn't do you any good to make your backtesting look better than it is, but it does pay out very, very significantly to really do your homework and do the testing, if you will. Before I go, I do want to say, like I mentioned, this strategy that you're seeing here on the screen that I'm testing is not something that is just randomly came up with. We actually worked very hard to create this tool that I mentioned earlier on. This signal board basically generates signals based on on exactly what we just talked about. So I'll give you another example since you guys are used to looking at this with me, I'm sure by now. Let's take a look at CAD yen. CAD yen on the sell side. Actually, this is not really the prettiest signal. Let's see if we can find a better one. NZD CHF, that one looks okay. What about Aussie yen? That one looks okay. GBP CHF, there we go. That looks kind of good. So what this thing does is it basically takes exactly what we're talking about here with this strategy, an RSI period and 3 moving averages. And it looks for an overbought reading on the RSI, depending on what you set it. You can change these if you want to test different things, by all means, test them out. And then you can change the moving averages as well. If you want something that's more quick, more for day trading or short-term swing trading, that's up to you and up to how you would like to set up the software. But this A1 trend scanner, what it does is it basically watches every chart. You get up to 30 charts to watch automatically. And then what it will do is it will check, is it trending? Okay, that's the first half. But the second half is it producing the signal that we're looking for, which is an overbought or oversold reading on the RSI. If both of those align, you'll get both of these showing up, showing that, hey, this is looking like a potential sell, right? Or a potential buy. And it's just an alert to go consider those views. And you can actually link it up to your email and get MetaTrader 4 alerts as well. So very cool tool that I had a lot of work done for myself and the rest of our team, put a lot of work into this. So if you would like a copy of this tool, if you like this strategy and you would like to test it by yourself more, this could be a huge tool for you to use. So check it out down below in the description if you'd like to get the trend scanner. And I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, make sure to hit that like button down below and we will see you back in the next video.